A well-known YouTuber gets indicted. This is OG Badger's story. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So the other day I did a video, and it was the video about this indictment that happened in the San Fernando Valley, Los Angeles, California. The feds indicted a bunch of whites. They're calling them a white supremacist gang. They're saying that their motivations were hate crimes, and they wanted to generate money in order to engage in racial violence, racial attacks, religious-based attacks. And you know, I did my part to expose the hypocrisy of the news press conference, where they say that this group is a gang. But for those of you that aren't aware, they're going to have to validate that gang with three predicate acts before they can even say that, right? And have to have the same kind of tattoo. So there's steps that have to be followed. There's things that have to be met before they can even be labeled that. But in the court of public opinion, the feds and the state are doing their scandalous tactics to smut up the people that they incarcerated, the people that they arrested, the people that they're indicting, right? And, you know, they gave the laundry list of what they claim, the state and the feds claim, was the goal and the mission of this so-called gang called the Peckerwoods, right? But then they actually listed the crimes that they have committed, and none of them were race-based. There was not one murder listed. I didn't hear any attempted murders listed. I didn't hear any assault with deadly weapons listed. But they also, not only that, but they also said that this white supremacist gang is affiliated with a very powerful white organization, as well as a very powerful Mexican organization. So there's a lot to digest there. Anyone with any kind of common sense would know what the DA and the feds and the state are doing. They're tainting the jury pool. And this is why a lot of people say that statue of Lady Justice with the blindfold on, they need to at least pull it down a little bit and have one eye looking, because Lady Justice is not blind. There's no such thing as that. The feds, the state, the DAs, they're not going to play fair. They are looking for a notch on their belt, and the higher profile the notch, the better for them in the long run for their bank account, especially DAs, because they will build up these notches on their belt, and guess what? They become defense attorneys, high-powered defense attorneys. But I want to talk about one of the individuals that allegedly was rounded up in this indictment. And he's a famous YouTuber, at least for us out here in California. He's a famous YouTuber. And his name is OG Badger. And when I heard that Badger, I just barely heard yesterday. That's why I'm on the late freight. When I heard that Badger was picked up in this, I was just like, damn. What a shame, man. It really is a shame. And it made me think of a few different things. But let me get into a little bit of the story of OG Badger. I looked at a channel called The Prison Professors, and Badger did an interview with them. He's in his bathrobe, and, you know, Badger was him. He wasn't, you know, I wouldn't do it in a bathrobe, but that's the unique thing about Badger. Badger was who he was, and he was unapologetic for it, because he had good intentions, man. You know, so he was on The Prison Professors, and he was telling his story. And it's a wild story, man. Badger was 17 years old, driving around on a suspended license, got picked up, got pulled over, and actually was sent to the county jail, Los Angeles County Jail, at 17 years old for driving under a suspended license. Went into the county jail, and like a lot of youngsters, he got some recognition that he wasn't getting anywhere else in his life. So he was getting off, you know, he was getting into stuff. And by day 17, now he had gotten sentenced to 30 days in the county jail. And according to him, back then, this was in 1984, you guys. When he was sentenced to those 30 days, back then, you only do 20 on 30. And he was on day 17. By day 17, he had worked his way from a trustee tank to the LA County gang module. And there he was in the gang module. He found himself, you know, they have the 6-man cells, I believe it is. And he found himself in a 6-man cell in the LA County Jail gang module. But it was only him and his cellie. 2 people. There was 4 empty bunks in that cell. And, you know, like I said, he was like, I'm paraphrasing him. While he was in there, he was, you know, getting off on dudes, getting in fights, doing things, running things, whatever. And he was getting the whole attaboys and pat on the head and pat on the back and all the sweet, kind words. You know, hey, you're a good youngster, homie. You're somebody we can depend on, you know. And it felt good to him. It was music to his ears, you know. And it fueled the poor decision making, right? So, he's in the LA County gang module. He doesn't like his cellie. I guess his cellie was kind of a crybaby. And he didn't like him. And his cellie stepped out of the cell to go to shower. And Badger took it upon himself to jump into his cellie's paperwork. Get into his personal property and go through his paperwork and see, man, what is this dude really busted for? And he found something that he didn't like and that nobody on that tier would like. So he tells his neighbors, hey, this dude has some bad paperwork, man. And they're like, shoot it. But his cellie was coming back from the shower. So he was like, I can't right now. So he put it back in his cellie's property and put his cellie's property where his cellie came back in. But now Badger has not just the knowledge that his cellie is dirty, but he has a responsibility because of his nosiness now. And so kites are going back and forth. The fellas that were there with him, according to Badger, are letting him know, like, hey, you're going to have to take care of that, man. You know, good looking, you know, that you found this out, but you know, now it comes with the responsibility. And don't worry, man, because of the type of charges he has, the cops will be grateful that you got rid of him. And you're not going to just be able to fist fight this dude. Like, you have to really hurt him. And so, again, the interview was on prison professors. And Badger said that his first instinct was that he was going to PC up, that he was going to lock it up, because in his mind, why was he going to hurt this guy and catch another case when he only had 3 days to the house? He was going home in 3 days. But see, that's the thought of a square. That's the thought of a normal person. And the attaboys were stronger than those thoughts. Badger was like, even though he had those thoughts, he said there was something in him that said he couldn't do that. He couldn't go that route. And so Badger killed his cellie. Imagine that, man. Let that sink in. 17-year-old kid picked up for driving on a suspended license, man. Goes to LA County Jail. Winds up with in the trustee tank. Hey, homie, can you pass this for me? Yeah, I got you. He passes something. Hey, homie, gracias, man. You know, we can't really depend on these other dudes, man. You mind? He's like, no, hey, homie, good looking out. Eh? And that was a pick-me-up for him. Like, oh, man, these dudes are cool. These dudes are really somebody, and they're acknowledging me. This type of stuff happens all the time. But so he winds up catching a body, man. He's in a cell, and there's only him and one other person in the cell, and one person's dead, and it's not him. And so he takes a deal for manslaughter, and he goes to prison, and he gets involved with whatever he gets involved in. Go ahead and check out the Prison Professors. Check out his channel as well. Type in OG Badger, and it'll pop up. And support him. Support that channel. But, you know, he said that he had started, you know, I watched him. I went to Cinemills. He was also on Cinemills. He was on different. I wanted to get a better understanding of him, a refresher of Badger and who he was and where his mind was and where his heart was when he started YouTube and during YouTube. I wanted to get an understanding of all that before I did this video, because I want to do this man justice. I want you guys to see something. So Badger got out of prison, and he decided he wanted to get in on this whole YouTube thing, this whole YouTube prison genre thing. He decided he wanted to get in on it. And he got in on it early. I think his channel probably came out a little bit after mine. You know, I've been doing this for 7 years. You know, I have a lot of videos that I took down. I didn't understand YouTube. A lot of us don't when we get out of prison. I would put up videos, and then when they weren't getting any more views, I would just delete them. And my subscribers got really upset with me the second time I did it, the second batch of videos. And they were like, hey, we're not unsubscribing, so why would you take those down? You know, we sometimes go back. And so my oldest videos, I think, only go back 4 years, but I've been on YouTube for 7. So OG Badger, he said he started his YouTube channel because he wanted to help. He wanted to help the he wanted to help the at-risk youth. He wanted to help kids to understand the streets ain't where it's at. Prison ain't where it's at. That was his goal. That's where his heart was when he started YouTube, man. He wanted to tell his story. And that's a powerful ass story, man. 17 years old on a suspended sentence and winds up killing a cellie. And then enters a world where nobody has time to feel sorry for you. Nobody has time to have sympathy for you. It's a fucking dog-eat-dog world, man. And he found himself there. And he did what you do when you're in those environments. And so he got out and he decided, I want to help these people, man. I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I went through. He didn't want anybody to have to go down the path he went down. And as social media is, the trolls came knocking. And for those of you that that have never lived our type of lifestyle, I want you to understand something. In my normal life, no one disrespects me when they talk to me. Nobody will talk to me in my face and talk to me the way these trolls do. And the same for Badger. The same for, I think, the majority of us that are on YouTube that have the prison background and the criminal background. You know, there's some you can see right through them that they've been disrespected their whole lives. You can tell by how reckless they are. I always say when somebody's reckless with their mouth, it's because they've never been around anybody serious that would take their win for that recklessness, right? So Badger was having these trolls come, and you don't know who they are because they don't show their face, they don't show their name, they're faceless and safe that way, right? And so it aggravated Badger. Myself, I stayed quiet for a long time. Recently, I've been shooting back a little bit. right? Just to show how ridiculous they are. But with Badger, he took a step back from YouTube. And when he took a step back from YouTube, he wound up eventually back in the county jail for something. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter to me. But this is why I always shout out YouTubers that come from the prison background. Because if you're here, you're making legitimate money here. And I respect that. You're not out there harming your community. You're not out there victimizing people. You're making an honest living, man. And I respect it. Even if I don't respect the creator of the content because of their recklessness, I have to respect the fact that they're chasing a clean dollar. And when you take a step away, if you don't have a backup plan, then you're going to go to what you know. I don't know what led Badger back to the county, and he did some county jail time, and who knows what kind of connections were reestablished, and who knows if Badger even did anything wrong. But he's now indicted. He has health issues. And people are going to say, well, I'm not going to feel sorry for him. And you know what? If he was making poor decisions, then don't. You can't. I can't either. Because when we make decisions to engage in certain activities, we accept what comes with that. I don't know that he was involved in anything. Maybe he was mentoring somebody and got caught up. I don't know. That's not the point. The point is, this is someone who had good intentions. This is someone who caught a body because he wanted the acceptance of those on that same tier with him. They gave him what was lacking in his life. And then he started YouTube. And you know what? He was getting those positive attaboys. He was getting that recognition, that reinforcement that, hey, Holmes, you do have value in life. You do mean something. And he did, and he still does. Unfortunately, the trolls came in. And they won that battle. And that's an unfortunate thing. You know, trolls will take pleasure in destroying a man that they could never be. That says a lot more about them than it does about those that they're trolling. They will take pleasure in seeing one of us murdered behind YouTube content, but they don't have the balls to murder anything. I've said, and I will always say, killing is easy, man. Understanding is hard. Patience is hard. I seek understanding and patience. I push away that hate. You can have it. If anybody has any way to get at Badger, if he's got family, but let's make sure it's legit, right? If anybody can get his hookup and send him a letter and let him know, hey, man, we're still rooting for you out here, he would appreciate that. Remember, those attaboys mean a lot to him. And send them to him. If you got an extra $5 you can send to him, send that to him. He's not a youngster, man. Entering prison at an older age with medical conditions, nobody gives a fuck about your age or your conditions in there. You still got to act. You still got to perform, man. I wish OG Badger well. And I'm sorry to hear this. And I hope that somehow, some way, this was just them throwing out a wide net and you got caught up in it, but you will be back. And hopefully you get back on YouTube, man. You know, before I go, one of the last videos that I saw, a recent video of his, he made it a point to show people where he was living, man. He was living in a trailer. I remember being a lifer and having conversations with homies and saying, man, if they let me out and they told me that I had to be a bum and live under a bridge, I would do it. As long as I'm not living in prison. Freedom. Freedom is unlike anything once you've had it taken from you. And you're never supposed to taste it again. Then you understand the value of freedom and the value of yourself and the value of others. So hopefully Badger will get a chance out here, a second, third chance, 10th chance, whatever it is, man. Hopefully he gets another chance out here and he realizes, you know what? I'd rather live in that trailer and put out content and let these trolls hate me. Because our words get to the right hearts and the right ears, and they get the job done for those that need it, man. So any of you content creators out there who are grinding and it's a hard work and it's a hard time, understand that your words do have value and they're getting where they need to get to. Before I go, last night's live, we had some people donate to the live and support the channel that way. I appreciate you and I want to shout you out. Zane Cruz, Ruben Sararas, Emilio Bustos, C Lux, Peanut Butter and Jelly Time, and Jess the Barber. Thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate every single one of you. Whether you're able to donate or not, I appreciate the support and all the love that you always show the channel, man. With that said, everybody please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here.